Do you mind just starting off by introducing yourself?
My name is John Doe.
All right.
You might be with the DNR, so.
No.
My name is John Doe. Go ahead.
All right, John. How long have you been fishing?
About 15 years.
15 years. So how did you get into fishing? Is that like a family tradition?
Well, change, and I went with a friend of mine.
We were interested in learning more about the diverse communities across Wisconsin and their relationships to fishing. So we went to talk to some anglers fishing in Lake Monona here in Madison.
Are you from this area?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee?
Yeah.
So what brought you to Madison to fish? Is it just the
Fish.
environment?
The fish.
Oh, fish. I see.
Madison is a good place to fish, plentiful. There's different places you can fish at here.
So here in Madison, we have 4 lakes that draw people to boat and fish. And the Monona Terrace is an event center that's right on Lake Monona. It's right on a bike path, so when I take the bike path, I see people fishing there all the time. So we went there to talk to some people.
I remember thinking I should have brought gloves. It was a little chilly that day, a little bit windy, but nothing too crazy. But I just remember a row of men just fishing, and I was really not expecting anybody because I was like, it's kind of late, it's a weekday, and it's a little cold. But I guess that's the best time to fish when it's, a little more chilly. But yeah, there was a row of men, and we were kind of nervous, but we went up and we asked them a couple questions, and they were all really friendly.
I was nervous too. It was our first real field trip for the podcast, real time going out and talking to people.
Go ahead.
All right, John. How long have you been fishing?
About 15 years.
15 years. So how did you get into fishing? Is that like a family tradition?
Well, change, and I went with a friend of mine. He, told me I should try it. I wasn't really interested.
How come?
But I tried it, and I liked, being a guy from the inner city area, it wasn't appealing to me for whatever reason. I never tried it, but then once I tried it and I began to catch, it got different. So the next year I went out and I brought a boat. It's the love of it, the challenge, the being outdoors, the peace that comes with it.
Do you fish in Milwaukee then?
Yeah. But you got Lake Michigan, and that's bigger than this, so it's so much water and land. You don't know where the fish is. You actually have to find fish. Most people that fish in Lake Michigan, in Milwaukee, they got big boats, big yachts, and they're out there.
Could you talk about fishing in the Black community?
Always, me and my fishing buddies, we basically be having fun with ourselves, but we be hitting on to the other guys and people in the community. That's how fishing is. Everybody's not gonna do it. I got tangled up. This is the downside.
Oh.
This is the downside to it, when you tangle in your own.
So it wasn't just John Doe who had traveled from Milwaukee to fish in Madison. All 5 of the people we had talked to had done the same thing. We met cousins Lamont and George, and we asked them why they came to Madison to fish.
So, and here is nice because you got different lakes. So you got Monona, you got Mendota, you got Stoughton, you got a lot of lakes. You got Lodi, the Wisconsin River, but it's, like you said, it's relaxation.
Do you make friends with the other people who fish, or do you just all do your own thing?
Definitely got to make friends when you're out fishing, because that's what we're lacking right now. We can't agree to disagree right now. So I think with fishermen, regardless of what party you belong to or who you vote for, that doesn't matter with fishermen or what race you are. Once we got to strike up a conversation, we'll get into somewhere we'll talk about something and wind up we have a more in common than we do, with each other with our fishing experiences.
Ideally.
Ideally, yeah. Hey, my cousin, you want to interview him?
Yeah.
He's a retired police officer. Well,
Have anything to add to the questions that we asked?
No, but there's a lot. I'm in a fish club, so we're a Black fish club. We're one of the only Midwest Crappie Hunters. I'm not from Milwaukee, but
nice.
So we did a fish camp. We were doing one for the winter, and then we did one this summer in McGovern Park in Milwaukee for the kids.
So immediately we wanted to hear more about the Midwest Crappie Hunters.
Is it just learn to fish?
Teaching the kids how to tie hooks, how to fish, how to fillet. So we teach them. This year was, yeah, look, our website is Midwest Crappie Hunters.
In this episode, we learned to fish in Milwaukee and talked to the club president, Darrian Perry, about teaching kids on Milwaukee's north side to fish. From Wisconsin Sea Grant, I'm Hallie.
And I'm Bonnie.
And you're listening to The Water We Swim In, stories about the Great Lakes and the people working towards equity.
Wisconsin Sea Grant is based at UW-Madison, which occupies the traditional land of the Ho-Chunk people. The stories on this podcast span the area we now know as Wisconsin, where the lands and waters are cared for by the 12 Native nations that call Wisconsin home.
Darrian Perry most often goes fishing at night.
I think crappie has become a favorite fish of mine as well because it works with my schedule, my work schedule. I work, all during the day, and then so when I'm done working 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock, that's a perfect time to get the boat ready and go out to go fishing. So we'll fish from 7, 8 o'clock at night until the wee hours of the morning, and that's predominantly when we catch all of our crappies is at night.
For a typical night of fishing, Darrian might drive out to Pewaukee Lake, 30 minutes or so west of Milwaukee. The east side of the lake has a really nice beach lined with ice cream shops and restaurants.
When we're out there fishing, when the sun is setting, it's getting dark, looking at all the buildings and the different places that's lit up, and just, being out there, it's a really, really beautiful scenery. Even the houses surrounding the lake, everybody has, manicured grass. They have nice rocks or different landscaping features, and it's a really beautiful, humbling place to be.
So as we said before, Darrian Perry is the president of Midwest Crappie Hunters.
Midwest Crappie Hunters is a nonprofit organization that we created back in 2019, and it was created by avid fishermen, and we established this club to go after fishing clinics for the kids.
What is now an organization was once just a couple of people that had
gotten together, men and women. We would go to fishing at different destinations, and just over the years of organizing fishing trips and even events, barbecues and different things of that nature, we always kept in touch. So we decided to turn that into an actual organization.
They had a great time fishing and wanted others to experience it with them.
There's a need to help the kids in our city. They give them something to do, and fishing is always something that's been very therapeutic for kids. My parents, uncle, and my grandpa, different family members always took me fishing, and I was hooked on it immediately as a kid. So when I was able to drive on my own, and instead of going to Great America and doing things that typical teenagers and young adults would do, I was always headed to the bank to go fishing. So it's something that's always stuck with me throughout my entire life.
So when you first heard Midwest Crappie Hunters, did you know what that club would be about? Like, did you know what crappies were?
I didn't really know what crappies were or crappie hunters were. I kind of assumed it must have been maybe deer hunting or some type of other hunting group.
I guess I just knew they were a fish, but Midwest Crappie Hunters does sound kind of intense.
Yeah. So what is a crappie anyway?
You have black crappies, you have white crappies, you have yellow crappies. They have a sheen to them that's almost like a bluish, greenish color. The black crappie would be a darker crappie, and then I have the specks throughout the body. The fins are beautiful. Everything about the fish is just really beautiful. They are a wide fish, but they're more of a flat panfish. But they're you can get them as big as a dinner plate, as a frying pan. They come really big. A typical crappie you're going to catch on an average day is going to range between 7 inches and 12 inches. I would say the biggest crappie that I caught was 17 inches, which was out of Beaver Dam. And a lot of people leave Wisconsin to go to other states to catch crappies that size, and we have them right here at home. So they have a really soft mouth. So you have to be careful when you're bringing that fish in. Like a bass, you can just kind of hoist it in, just real fast, reel it in. With a crappie, you have to take your time because their mouth is almost like tissue, so if you pull too hard, you'll just lose the fish, so but they're very unique fish, and there's not another one like it.
Okay, this is a weird question, but how would you describe the personality of a crappie?
Oh, that is not a weird question, because crappie is a very picky fish. Like a bluegill, you can throw anything out there, and the bluegill will take that bait. A crappie, I've literally seen a crappie bite something and spit it back out. They're just such a picky fish. Yeah, you just have to know where they're at, and they're very sneaky too. So you can be fishing straight down, and your line will be moving to the side so slow that with the naked eye, you can barely tell that it's moving. And you pull up on it, and there's a huge fish on there. You can get them as big as 16, 17 inches, and you won't even know that they're messing with your line because they're such a good finesse fish. They can, really get that bait off of there without you knowing. So they're just a really fun fish. Crappies are just extremely fun, and to me, they're the best tasting fish that there is in our inland lakes.
With his experience with fishing, Darrian wanted to teach kids all about it. The Midwest Crappie Hunters began to host
free educational kids fishing clinics every year to teach the kids, the youth, all the benefits surrounding our ponds and lakes and rivers. We host our fishing clinics at McGovern Park. We work with the fish hatchery to stock the pond so there's fish available for the kids to catch. And then we have periods throughout the fishing clinic where we teach kids how to, starting from tying a hook all the way to after you catch your fish, how to fillet and properly, eat the fish.
They also go over safety tips and protocols for fishing.
So we cover a lot within our clinics. And also we find that there's a lot of adults that are learning in these kids fishing clinics as well.
So Darrian is obviously pretty well traveled in Wisconsin. He told us about taking fishing trips up north and to a lot of other lakes and rivers throughout the state. And we even talked about his trips to the lake that I grew up on in south central Wisconsin, Lake Koshkonong. But in terms of fishing in his hometown of Milwaukee, it's kind of limited.
We have Lake Michigan, but we don't have the inner lakes, like how you have Beaver Dam, Fox Lake, and all these different lakes that are throughout Wisconsin. And I think that having kids introduced to these different lakes, these different areas of Wisconsin, I think it will give them a vision of what we have to offer and kind of think outside the box, and that's really the purpose. When a lot of the kids that come to these fishing clinics have never held a fishing pole, and now over these last couple of years, we actually have parents that are contacting us, asking us when we're going to host more clinics. And when you're dealing with the inner city youth, there is limitations on vehicles and just being able to get out to some of these farther places. Typically, it seems like that's kind of the issue, is the transportation, getting out to Montello or Princeton, Wisconsin, or Baraboo, or some of these places that just have just gorgeous Wisconsin land that you can see and great fishing. So I think that is probably one of the biggest issues.
Although fishing can just be a fun hobby, Darrian also emphasizes how fishing can help with mental health.
So not only is it giving the kids something to do and taking the tablets out of their hands, but it also creates family time, which I think is really important, for families to bond. you're at a restaurant, the whole everybody's looking at their phone, and so we're just trying to get back kind of to the older ways where, you spend quality family time. And then also too, just, I think the therapeutic side of it is really important too, because we live in a day and age where there's a lot of, anxiety and just mental health challenges that I think that the water is like a medicine-free type of therapeutic way to help out, individuals who do suffer for different type of mental challenges.
Fishing doesn't just benefit kids, though. Fishing has made a difference for adults that Darrian knows as well.
And I personally know people that suffer from like bipolar, anxiety, stuff of that nature. And when they're around the water, it's a 9-day difference. They feel like that, and especially, and it depends. Some people don't like the boat. Some people love the boat. I love the boat. I'm a big time boat fisherman. I started off from the bank, but once I got on a boat for the first time, I was 17, 18 years old, I was hooked ever since. And I've had 4 boats throughout my lifetime. And so my saying is, when I'm out on the water, all my stressful issues is on land. I feel like the water is kind of, a safe haven and just to kind of get away. But I think that just being around the water, even if you're not fishing, if you're reading a book, if you're having a picnic, if you're playing volleyball, whatever you're doing, if the water is right there, it's going to put you in a different mind state. I think just being by the water. So not necessarily having to fish, but just being around the water will help with any kind of, mental issues that is going on. I think it's very important.
With fishing, you can imagine it would be an individual sport, but it's actually one of the best ways to feel a sense of community and make friends.
You meet so many different people and you just become one big network. I mean, everybody is, I haven't met a mad person that was fishing. I mean, everybody is such in a great spirit, a good mood. And a lot of people I've met that are really good friends to me right now, I've met on the fishing bank.
So Darrian invited us to come out to a fishing clinic, and we were super excited. After the break, Hallie goes on her first fishing trip, and we meet the Midwest Crappie Hunters in person. So let's talk about the fishing trip.
We drove about an hour and a half maybe to Milwaukee, and when we showed up, we got a bit lost because it was kind of a hidden lake almost.
Yeah, we approached this park and we're like, is there a lake in there? McGovern Park.
We couldn't tell. There's like a building in front of it. But yeah, right away we approached the place and there were little signs that said like fishing clinic for free, or kids fishing clinic for free, I believe. And there were little kids running around everywhere with little fishing poles, and some of them were like little fake ones that they had to like practice. And yeah, Darrian like greeted us right away and showed us around.
Inside this park building, there were some stations.
Hello there, how you doing? We're gonna show you how to catch that fish and not let him get away. All right, got to have a secured knot first to start off with. Here, I'm gonna show you a simple knot that I use all the time.
Each station teaches the kids
something different about fishing. And then when they complete all of the stations, they'll get a certificate of completion. And then once they complete it, they go outside of that building. And then we have artificial fish set up outside as a game. and then we teach them how to cast. And the goal is try to take the plastic piece that's on the tip of the pole and connect it with the plastic fish that's out on the grass, and then connect it and reel it in and dragging it back. And we teach them that way. And then once we feel that they're comfortable enough to cast, to be safe with it, then we take them out by the water, and then we continue to show them how to properly cast using a hook, and how to properly bait your lines, and just how to stay away from the edge and of the landing, so you're not, and close to the water, and we just fully go through with them. And then once they catch their fish, if it's big enough, we'll do a fish demonstration on how to fillet. So we'll go back to a table, and then the kids stand around, and then we show them how to fillet, and then we actually all the way through until the fish is consumed. So we batter it up, we'll fry it, we'll do everything, and so they can get the full experience.
So we went through the stations.
Yeah, I remember the first station, there was a woman, and she taught us about different life jackets and which one we'll specifically wear. And yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know there were all these different kind of varieties of life jackets, but there are. And then after that, we learned how to tie a knot. It was actually quite a challenge.
Tie a knot that will keep the fish on the hook, which is kind of complicated.
It was, for sure. After that, we learned about all the different kinds of fish that are out there, and even the ones that aren't.
Good luck today. I hope you catch a big one out there.
Thanks, me too.
And the next station.
So yeah, then we went outside, and the instructors were helping the kids.
Pull them in. Keep your eye on that barber. Oh, there you go. Pull it in. Pull it in. Pull it in. Pull it in. Did you miss him? Yeah, it looked like you might have missed him. All right. Let's throw him back out there.
I know they trying to hide, but it's red ones, blue ones. I just been putting them on the hook for the kids.
Wait, are these alive too?
Yeah, all of them alive.
And then, finally, we got a chance to try fishing.
How are you feeling? Ready to fish?
I'm ready to finally fish. I've watched so many people catch them at this point.
I feel like at this point you're experts.
So, first, putting on the worm, and then casting out into this pond with everyone else, trying to avoid smacking someone with your hook.
I think you got smacked at some point, right? Or close enough.
I almost did, yeah. How would you describe what it was like to fish?
There's a lot of patience within fishing, because you can't really do anything. It's mostly about luck, I guess. So you just kind of have to wait for a fish to come to you and try different spots. And there's not really a specific technique, is what I kind of learned. I mean,
just keep your eye on that barber. When it starts to go down, that's when you're going to start to reel it in.
I got one.
There you go. You got one. Got it? Hooked it?
Oh, he does
Yeah, there were people catching fish, and so there was a lot of excitement in the air. And we asked Darrian about his favorite moments that he remembers.
I would say the funny moments is when they have a fish and it comes up and it's like the size of a 50-cent piece or something, just the smallest fish ever, but they're so excited. And so I think that's probably some of the funnier moments. The kids are ecstatic, they're bringing in a fish, and then they get it up, and then it's like, what is it? And then we have a first place prize for the boy, and we have a first place prize for the girls. So we'll do a cash prize, or we'll give away fishing equipment and stuff like that. Whoever catches the biggest fish. So we make it somewhat competitive and fun, and then we also and then we'll just give away back to school stuff, backpacks, and have different things made up for the kids and stuff like that. So it's all fun for them. I mean, from the games that is leading up to the actual fishing, a lot of adults and the kids have a great time casting in the grass, trying to get the fake fish, and so it's all fun for them. The entire event is a lot of laughs, and just you can see the seriousness and the kids and the passion that they have for that fishing. They love it, And I don't see cell phones and tablets. I don't see anything out when we're doing our events. Like everybody's looking at what's going on, who's doing what, who's catching what, so yeah.
So we were seeing a few people catch fish. The one kid next to us got like 8 fish in a row.
At least.
Like he just kept reeling them in. I was casting out and I could tell that fish were like biting because the bobber was going down, but they weren't getting caught on my hook. That's been a real challenge for me. But finally, I had some luck.
Oh, got a bit. Oh my God! Come bring it in. That one! Okay, looks like it just caught on his lip.
So I'm really sad that you didn't get a fish on your first ever fishing trip. But do you think fishing is something that you would want to try again?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, my friend loves fishing and he's always invited me, but I was like, I don't know. But now I'm not really as hesitant. I'm actually like, maybe I'll try it this summer. These clinics are a great opportunity not just for education, but also for some downtime and meeting people who enjoy the same hobby as you do.
So with the Midwest Crappie Hunters, what's the process for becoming a club member? Like, do people just show up?
You can become a member on their website. There's a one-time $25 fee, but they often waive that. They also have merchandise like shirts and sweatshirts that you can order and support them. Going forward, Darrian told us about their vision.
So our vision moving forward, given that COVID is going to get better and everything is going to get lifted, we will like to continue to host these fishing clinics, but we would, instead of twice a year, we would like to maybe double that, at least 4 times a year or even more. We will also like to work with schools, especially like MPS. For instance, like gym is a great curricular to have with schools, but I think that having like a sportsman's class, an outdoor class or something to show just kids the same thing, about fishing and hunting and just the outdoors. And then we also, where we want to work with not just like having like just a kids fishing clinic. I mean, we want to work with veterans. We want to work with, have like mental awareness months for fishing and just different things that we would like to incorporate and not so much just target the kids, because even though that is very important because they're our future, there are still a lot of adults that can benefit from this as well.
You can find Midwest Crappie Hunters at midwestcrappiehunters.com. The Water We Swim In is produced by Bonnie Willison and Hallie Jama. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and share this podcast with a friend. You can find Wisconsin Sea Grant at seagrant.wisc.edu. You can find the Wisconsin Water Resources Institute at wri.wisc.edu. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.